Welcome to WiscoDice. Hey, yo, folks, I am your host, the Conesy with the Most, and I am joined today by...
Hey, this is Justin, the Meeples champion.
And I'm Matt, the Ghost Walker.
And I'm Suzanne.
And that is Orla, the fuzzy dog. And this is episode 148 of the WiscoDice Tabletop Gaming Podcast. And today is November 26th, 2025. And on today's episode, we're going to wrap up our year of 2025, talk about all the fun gaming we've had, all of the great games we've checked out. We're going to announce our game of the year that was released here in 2025. So we all have our nominations for that. We also are going to talk about some of our favorite games that we've played and some of our favorite gaming memories. And in fact, that's where we're going to go ahead and kick things off, talking about the favorite thing that we look back at this year and we think, man, that was so much fun. I hope I can recapture that going into 2026. So Suzanne, why don't you kick us off?
Well, I'd love to say that my favorite gaming memory is playing fetch with the dog, who has joined us for the podcast today.
Mm-hmm.
But that's going to continue on and on. So my favorite memory probably from 2025 is game day at a Weldon, which is a local distillery where we run a game day. There's game days there twice a month.
Mm-hmm.
We're always there on the third Sunday of the month there. And we were just overflowing with people that came out to play because they had heard that it was just such a great event. They were coming. So many different experience levels, interest levels, ages. It was just this really great melting pot of gamers. We filled the place up. We had to go, and I think two tables, one or two.
One folding table. We had
almost
25 two. Plus players there that
Wow.
day.
Yeah, and it's not. Yeah, it was comfortable. Like we were very comfortable, and a lot of people just, brought food. We had games. It was a great time. And that was probably one of my favorite gaming memories of 2025. Just all these people gaming together and being harmonious and having fun. So, Conesy, you were there for that, but
yeah.
I'm not sure if that you were you got stuck in the other room.
Yeah. So, the Weldon's got like kind of an event space room, and then there's the like tap room that's in the front. All of this is on the second floor, by the way. But you can, if you want to check out, if you're in the Madison area or you're traveling through Madison, we do game days there on the first and third Sundays of the month, and there's easily 3 tables of games going every Sunday that were there. So this particular day that Suzanne's talking about of those game days was pretty remarkable. We both had to be on our feet quite a bit to just make sure people were getting games. It was organized. I kind of took the first half hour, I think, that I was there, just running, making sure, like, how many people do we need for this table? How many, like, but don't stand around. Hey, you have a game you really want to play? Start setting it up. I'll find you players just to get things going because it was pretty crazy.
It was a lot of fun for me. But what was your favorite gaming memory? I don't think it was the same as mine.
No, that was a good one though, and I didn't think of that one. But my particular favorite one was going to Gary Con for the first time this year, and in particularly because I worked for GUI Cube while I was at Gary Con, but the particular part that was really special about it this year was when you came down that Friday night. I had finished my GMing. We met up at the hotel that I was at. And my Saturday, I didn't have anything. So instead of going back to Gary Con and doing Gary Con events.
Yeah, because I couldn't get a ticket.
Yeah, you didn't. Yeah, you didn't have a ticket.
I guess.
Badge. But we went and got our geek on while we toured Lake Geneva, which is the birthplace and the origins of Dungeons and Dragons. So there's all these locations that either have like where the offices for TSR was. There's a little museum that has some space for there's like a room that's dedicated to honoring Dungeons and Dragons. And there's a bunch of other little locations and memory spots.
The library.
The library was really cool. There were a lot of just really cool things that we got to do it. And the fact that I got to do it with Suzanne was really cool as well.
Nice.
Yeah, you like spending time with your wife.
I do like spending time with my wife.
That's always a bonus.
So, speaking of Dungeons and Dragons, Justin, I hear that your favorite memory that you had from this year was something to do with D&D as well.
That's right. And this is a memory that we all got to actually participate in. So that's kind of a cool bonus. In a recent D&D game, we had kind of wrapped up a little side quest that we were doing. And there was sort of a break in the story. And we had stumbled across this. We were in the middle of this snowy forest in the middle of winter. And we stumbled across this little hot spring. And I can't remember who decided to do it first, but someone was like, I'm gonna jump in and just go for a swim. Maybe it was Akra, Suzanne's character, who
I'm pretty
initiated
sure it
this all.
was.
Or Topper.
Yeah, it could have been Topper, our half ogre cleric, but we all just sort of took this moment of fun and went for a swim in this hot spring. And after taking care of, I think we fought some ogres in their den. And it was just this really nice little role playing moment. We all were just goofing off, having fun, getting a little silly. And it was this perfect little peaceful moment to kind of sit in the middle of, after we get done with this sort of combat encounter. And it was just this, everybody was participating and goofing with each other. It was just sort of this really nice moment. And then after this perfect little break in the story, we get to the end of chapter 3 in this campaign we're playing, and it delivers one of the most shocking, surprising events of the entire campaign thus far, and potentially just a devastating, dramatic moment for everybody in the campaign. And so I'm not going to go into details because I do not want to spoil the ending of this chapter for other people who might be going through the GUI Cube Red Star Rising campaign. I may have already even said too much. If you really want to find out what happens, get your DM, go get them to get the GUI Cube line of products and check out this campaign. It's a really awesome campaign, and this was a particularly awesome moment in the campaign. And it was just this awesome juxtaposition of this light little fun our role-playing moment that we had, and then this big shock. And it really couldn't have been scripted out better. It was, it was an amazing night of D&D and very memorable for me. So that was my memory for this year that really stuck.
Yeah, as the DM for that session, I was a bit nervous for both groups that I've run this for now on how players were going to take it, because it is one of the every chapter of this campaign has come up to a really cool like cliffhanger, like movie cliffhanger type of ending where you're like really excited to get to the next one, but you also like, hey, this was the like movie cliffhanger that you now know that you're going to get to the sequel for the next episode. And chapter 3 ends it in what I would call the Empire Strikes Back ending almost. It is extremely dark times for the players. I think we do a good job in the GUI community to talk about it kind of like that. It is definitely the biggest emotional drop I think I've ever ran as a GM for any group of players. And I can say that both groups, after we wrapped up chapter 3 that I've ran it through for, they walked out because you end the session basically on it, you're done. And the group, instead of like the normal jovial, like everybody's talking at the end of the session, like great session, it's very somber and quiet as the players leave. And you're like, did I just break my group of players? And, nobody the next day was like, screw you, I'm not coming to your game again. So I was like, okay, I survived that.
Well, I can't really. I'd probably be like out of a...
I did. My wife did get a little upset with me the next day, or I think when she was at work, and I posted a picture into the Discord that we use for that game, and it was... She nearly cried as she was going into a meeting.
Yeah. But yeah, very memorable, and it was cool to experience that all with you guys too. So
It was. So Matt, I think you're also kind of on this like role-playing kick here because
I am.
I don't think you ran any board games at this year's
I
convention.
did not, though. If there are any of the organizers for GameholeCon listening to our podcast, I would encourage you to please keep event registration open just a little bit longer. My situation was a little bit strange this year. I just changed jobs and I wasn't sure what my schedule was going to be, so I kind of screwed up my scheduling because I was planning to run a big long day of games for WiscoDice as well. But yes, this was happened to me on a Saturday, and I was DMing for all day, and I was going to be entering into my 8th through 12th hour of DMing for the day. But I had a player come back, one of his friends, just a group of people that I'd met through they're locals to Madison, and they had specifically said, one of the guys came to me right after the game, and this is sort of extends very similar to the memory I had last year. And the guy came to me right after the game wrapped up, and he said, I want you to understand. He goes, our friend over here, who I also know is another DM in Madison, he said he insisted on coming back tonight. He said he was exhausted. He wanted to just go home and take a nap, but he's like, I just really want to be there for Matt's game. So the guy came back completely exhausted, but everybody had a great time, laughing, having a good time. So,
editor's note at this point, we had a little bit of an audio glitch here in the middle. Ben and I discussed back and forth the points that it's really exciting for us as players and people to have people come and see us and join us and say they really want to find us. We've actually had people hunt us down at various conventions, filling up our events to make sure that, because we want to make sure they had an awesome time.
And are like signing up for our games because they know they're going to have a good time. So It's great to hear that in a game you're not running for WiscoDice, you're also having that. It just goes to show, I think we do a good job as a group of running games that people enjoy, and we're not necessarily, even if we're playing in those games, our goal is always to make sure everybody has a great time. And we're not there to just win.
Well, and I view that as, especially a lot of us dedicate time at conventions. My view is whether I'm DMing or I'm running a board game, my job is to make sure you're the person showing up, you're paying to be there at that convention. My goal is to make sure you had a great time. And I think we all share that.
Mm-hmm.
And, so it's always great to hear it, though. You know what I mean? As the person running it, and they're like, hey, I hunted you down. Or I know, Suzanne, you said something like somebody specifically already messaged you. They're like, you have a convention coming up in January. And they're like, I was hunting you down because so those always make us feel good. So
So if you're looking for us at our next convention, it will be Midwinter Gaming Convention in January. So you can find that on Tabletop Events. We need to keep things moving, so we're going to talk about the best new to us game that we played. So this could be a game that came out this past year. This could be a game that came out a year ago, 10 years ago, 40 years ago. It doesn't really matter how long or how old this game is, just that it was brand new to the host who is talking about the game specifically. Justin, I think you have the first one here.
My best new game that I played is The Lord of the Rings: Fate of the Fellowship. This is a cooperative game based on the pandemic system where you are working together to get the one ring from the Shire with Frodo and Sam all the way to Mount Doom and completing the quests and getting help from other characters in the Lord of the Rings movies or books along the way. This might be my most favorite implementation of a pandemic style game that I've played of all the pandemic games out there. I'm a big fan of the Cthulhu one, but this takes it in a new direction and is thematically and mechanically awesome. You play the game with up to 4 other people, so you can play up to 5 players, which might be a lot for this game. And you basically get 2 characters from the Lord of the Rings that you play with. So you might be starting a game as playing Frodo and Sam as like one character, and then Legolas as another character. And Instead of defeating diseases like in Pandemic, you're fighting off hordes of shadow troops that pour out of Mordor and other places in the map as the game goes on, while trying to complete objectives to get to the point where you've completed enough objectives that then you can complete the final objective, which is, of course, to destroy the One Ring in the fires of Mount Doom. But you might have to do things like have Gandalf go to Moria and defeat the Balrog and die and come back as Gandalf the White. Spoilers for Lord of the Rings, I guess. Or you might need to defend Helm's Deep against hordes of orcs or things like that. But there's basically 4 goals that you got to complete before you can do the final quest. And you're all working together with your own special abilities. Each character has unique abilities that they can use during the game. And you are constantly being pursued by the eye of Sauron and Nazgul as you trek across the map to try to complete your goals. And it really feels like you're playing through the story of the movies or the book when you're playing this game. And I think it is a really, really cool implementation of Pandemic. It has some unique twists to the kind of the typical formula that make this one special. But I would just highly recommend it if you're at all a fan of the Pandemic stuff or a fan of Lord of the Rings. Check this one out. It's a really good game.
I considered getting this one at Gen Con when it was released, and the box art threw me, and I said, no, I'm not getting that. And then a friend of mine got it, and he brought it over, and we played it, and I really enjoyed it, and I can see why anyone who's a fan of the Lord of the Rings probably really likes this game. My game, though, is SETI, The Search for Extraterrestrials from CGE. This is a game, I think we reviewed it this year. It is basically exactly that. You're taking on the role of a space agency trying to find extraterrestrial life, and eventually you're going to find enough traces of these extraterrestrials that you're going to unlock them and change the game state of the game when they become revealed, which is kind of cool. There's like 5 of them in the box. You never know which 2 you're going to get. And they definitely change up the way and your strategy and the way of the game. So somewhere around turn 2 to maybe as early turn round 4, you're going to have to shift a little bit on what you've been doing to maximize your strategy to win. So it's a great space. This would have my game of the year last year, absolutely. If I would have had a chance to play it last year, since it was released in 24. But I'm looking forward to getting the expansion. Hopefully we'll be able to get that in January or February and give it a try. This is one of those games that I've already got to the table 7 times in person, and I've loved it every single time. I can't say enough good things about SETI. I definitely recommend that if you haven't had a chance to play it and you like a crunchier Euro game, that you should definitely give that one a try.
Yeah, there's some cool mechanics in that one. I really enjoyed it every time I've played it.
It's beautiful on the table too.
Yeah, it's really, really great. It's probably tied for me for best new game of 2025. I also got the chance to play for the first time this year, and it is just as good as this Lord of the Rings game. It's fantastic.
I went a different direction. I did attend Gen Con this year, and one of the games I just happened to sign up for was a game by, I think it's called BA Games Company, by the name of Forges of Ravenshire. And it's not a super heavy Euro. I'd say it's more of kind of a mid-tier. But for whatever reason, it just really caught me at Gen Con. I loved the hell out of the game when I played it there. And pretty much everybody that I played with at the table, because we were all strangers at Gen Con, had a really good time. In fact, I think universally, we all went and bought it pretty much that day. And it's one of those games I've actually hit the table 4 times this year, which is a lot for me usually. And you play as some characters that are just you're trying to become the new blacksmith for the area of Ravenshire. So you basically have a competition for the year and try to build the biggest and best stuff. But mechanics aren't terribly difficult, but I just kind of love the art and love the flow of the game. And so that's probably the one that I've enjoyed the most, though I will admit, seeing some of these others like SETI, I had a lot of fun with SETI, and if I'd played the Lord of the Rings one, I probably would have that on
I
my
think
short
you'd
list
really
too.
like that one. Yeah.
I enjoy a good pandemic game. It's one I don't get to the table enough, and this would be. I'm a freak for Lord of the Rings. That would probably be.
Don't feel like you're playing. You
Don't feel like it's
you don't
just
feel
for-
like you're playing a pandemic engine
No.
game when you're playing it. But
No.
when you get done playing it, and you start thinking about the mechanics you were using to play the game.
You're like,
You're like, I just played Pandemic.
Yep.
In fact, I didn't even realize the first time when I played it that it was a pandemic game. Because I just saw the box art and I was like, no. But this one, you got me to play at our Misty Mountain game night, which is the last Friday every month. By the way, so if you're getting in the Madison area, the Forges of Ravenshire, Forges of Ravenshire. Although I think you can pick up the Lord of the Rings one at Misty Mountain Games.
You can, but that's what we're talking about.
But the Forges of Ravenshire, Matt got me to play at Misty, and I'm going to be honest, I like the box art and the theme definitely didn't do it for me. But the mechanically, I was like, once I understood how it worked, I was into this game and playing. And I don't remember if I did well or not, but I remember enjoying the gameplay, which was great. Like
you and Robert really got into the mechanics. Like I think you two honed into the mechanics immediately. And like you guys smoked the rest of the table, and that was fine. I still had an awesome time playing it. And the mechanics are really sound in the game. So,
but like this next game that we're going to talk about that Suzanne's going to introduce us to is another game that I didn't like the theme or the artwork for, but mechanically I dig this one as well. So Suzanne, you want to tell us what this is?
Yeah. So this one is called The White Castle, which, yes, it was published in 2023, but I did not get around to playing it. And I actually started playing it on BGA out of curiosity in 2025. And now I've played it about 50 times on BGA, and not that many in person, but quite a few in person.
Oh, yeah.
So the theme that Conzi was not super stoked on, which me purchasing a game that neither of us has played, I generally, is tough if one is not super keen on the theme. So it's in feudal Japan, and you're at the Great White Heron Castle, which is like this real famous castle for its white walls and everything there.
Which is why the game's called The White Castle, right?
Yes.
Gotcha. Okay.
The White Castle, not White Castle, the burger joint. Which certain people in our house are banned from going to, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
So the White Castle, you as a player are a Japanese clan that is striving to gain influence and favor with the feudal lord who resides in this castle. And at its core, it's a Euro game with dice placement that you are using. There's 3 rounds in the game, and each round you only have 3 turns. This game really is going to do well in the game. You have to really rely on understanding the downstream impact your actions are going to have, and chain your actions on those turns whenever possible, or work to set yourself up for a really impressive turn the next time it comes around to you, which is something, those are both things I really struggle on with games. And it was kind of a challenge for me trying to figure out how to do that. Do I win this game? Barely ever. But I still like it because it's like this little personal challenge that I have going on in it. There's nice things with the dice. There's these bridges that you have in the garden area. And depending on, which side of the bridge you take the die from, means if you get to do, get some extra rewards if you're taking a lower one, depending on where you place it, and whatever die is currently there or number is currently there means if you have to pay to take the action, or if you're going to get money from the action. Cards change where they're located at every game, which locations accept and benefit from different colored dice. There's 3 colors. There's a black, white, and red die, which I'm sure they mean something, but I'm not remembering what the different colors stand for. That changes up. So there's a lot of replayability that way. And I've read that there are some different strategies to this is what you should do and ideally will do to win the game, but it's very general, and it really depends on what other players are doing, because they may take a spot that you want or a die you want.
I mean, you only have what nine turns in the entire game.
Yeah,
yeah.
Real short.
I wrote this game off for so long, and then I got a random invite. Well, I shouldn't say random. Person I know invited me to play with them on Board Game Arena, and we played it several times in a row. And I wasn't quite like, I love Board Game Arena, but I don't learn games well if it's a new to me game. But
it automates a lot on
too
this
much
game.
automated. I want to understand what's going on in the background. But I liked it enough, and I was starting to figure it out enough that I was like doing okay. And sometimes, like, I think I accidentally won one of the games we played. Like, we must have played this thing at least a half dozen times back to back. And I told Suzanne, I'm like, we have to go get a copy of this game. And so we ordered one, and we got a physical copy. And I have absolutely loved every time I played this game. This was definitely in my list. There would be in my list of surprises for this year. It is really good, and I certainly understand now why when this game came out, why everybody on the internet said that this was good.
Yeah, there's a lot in that game, and it's quick, but it's not quick. Like, it's very intense. I don't know, like, Justin or Matt, have either of you played it?
I've not had the opportunity yet.
It's a very satisfying worker placement game.
Yeah, it's a great game. I like it a lot, really, and it packs a lot in literally a small box, and in those short 9 turns. Like, there's a lot of game there. It's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, if you were looking for a reasonably priced, not overproduced worker placement game that you can bang out with 3 players, which is the max number of players.
4 players.
It does do 4? Oh, no, it does do 4. 4 players.
I hope
does
so.
I 4 players. Does it
I play it with 4.
No, it's 3 rounds. 3 rounds, 4 players.
Yeah.
That you can bang out in an hour easily.
Nice.
Yep. But it's an intense hour, and people need to be,
focused.
Yep, and then just re-rack. No, it's just like the game, like, it's everything that you have. If you've played like a big, crunchy worker placement game, this game does that in an hour.
Yep.
And it does play solo. I don't know if anyone's played it solo. I have not yet, but I probably should.
I don't know. These are all great games that we played this year, so it's a great list of games.
Real quick, I should mention that the game is published by DeVere Games. Sorry. That's very important.
Links to all of these games will be in the show notes. But to keep things moving, we're going to whip out those paintbrushes and talk about our favorite hobby projects, something that garners back at the beginning of WiscoDice when we were a Warhammer Fantasy show. Fortunately, we've broadened that spectrum, but I'm going to talk about my hobby this year. We're at the tail end of November, so I've still got a full month. I will easily crush 200 minis this year. But my favorite project by far so far this year has been working on my Drukhari army for Warhammer 40K. And in particularly Lady Malice, which is the only new model we've got. Well, I guess we have the new Archon, which I don't actually have, but one of only 2 new models that the faction has pretty much got for like the last, I don't know, forever. If you like creepy, evil dark elves that have ray guns, these guys are pretty cool. The evil pirate space elves are pretty awesome in my opinion. And Lady Malice is an amazing infantry figure. You'll be able to see pictures of her up on our blog. Go ahead and click over there right now. Some great pictures. But we're going to roll back into some D&D here, Justin. What were you working on?
Yeah, so I did not really didn't paint much this year. I didn't get that part of the hobby done, but I have been running a D&D campaign online, some friends of mine, and for better or worse, it is an entirely homebrew campaign. Decided to take that on, and so I make basically every battle map or like regional or world map myself. Some different tools. So for like battle maps, I like to use software called Dungeon Draft, which is just a nice little kind of cartoony look to it, and it's a really simple to use tool for making battle maps. And you can make stuff outdoors, stuff in dungeons, stuff in caves, stuff in castles. There's lots of additional add-ons you can add to it from different creators out there. So I've made a bunch of battle maps for different scenarios with Dungeon Draft, and then I also, for my like larger scale maps, my world map or regional maps, I like to use a tool called Incarnate, which is another mapping software. That one's like an online subscription that you can get. And I did put a link to my current world map that you'll be able to take a look at that I've done in Incarnate. It's kind of what I like about having the online tool is that I can keep modifying the map as the campaign goes on. So as like they discover new areas or find new like villages or locations, I can go back and add those to the map. Like some of the stuff on the map is just placeholders for who knows what's there until the players discover it. So I can change things and tweak things as I go and update stuff. I think our Incarnate's a really, really nice tool for that, especially the world mapping side of things. So that's kind of my hobby for 2025. How about you, Suzanne? What have you been working on?
Well, right now I'm exploring your world map, which is really cool.
Oh, thanks.
I was looking at that earlier.
It's thank you.
No, I like it. But anyway, on to what I've been working on is one of my New Year's resolutions or my gaming resolutions for the year was to make more gaming inserts. And I have been struggling with my 3D printer. We have had lots of heated discussions, and it has run away down to Conesy's office, but he was got me a lovely early Christmas present. So I have so I've been playing with the Bamboo A1 printer.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that I got my Christmas present early because I needed to make my resolutions?
Yeah, from our November gifts for the holidays episode, which is still available. If you're hopefully able to snag one of these, we really do appreciate it if you use our affiliate link for Amazon that you can find in our show notes for last month's episode. But
I'll put it in this one too.
We'll have one, for the Bamboo A1. It is the best beginner-friendly 3D printer. But what did you do with it?
And even if you're not a beginner, it's just nice because
it's a very good piece of tech.
But River of Gold, I love that game.
I know you hugged it.
And it has, and when you open it up, it has this beautiful gold like insert in it that it comes with. That is very impractical unless you keep everything really flat and I don't know, just leave the game out on your tabletop or whatever. And so I found a lovely 3D printed insert online that I printed in gold filament, and now when you open the game box, it's all shiny and gold. And that is probably my favorite hobby project that I've done a whole bunch this year, but that is probably my favorite hobby project just because it makes me smile every time I open that game box now. Nice. Which I only did about 10 times today when I finished the insert.
Well, and I got to imagine it was really satisfying to be able to print something with your printer and not have to fight with it. So
yes,
or have a heated conversation. So
yep.
Yeah, no, it looks really nice. I'm really impressed how well that printer works, and that insert is definitely going to make that game so much faster to get to the table and get set up.
It's amazing how much a good insert can radically transform your willingness to put a game on the table.
Oh yeah,
yes. and this game was going to put on a lot, but it's going to be
how
quick,
much a bad insert can make a game not want to get to the table. I'm looking at you, Everdell Big Box.
Well, yes. So which we got that's a whole nother story. We're not going to talk about the big box right now. Let's go back to Conesy and talk about some surprises.
Yeah. So every year there's always some form of surprise, either whether it's a game or something that happened at the tabletop. So we could say probably some of our favorite gaming memories this year were surprises to all of us. Yeah. But for me, I got introduced to a card-ish game called Forest Shuffle
by one of our listeners.
Yeah, by one of our listeners and regulars at our board game.
No, it was a recommendation on one of our YouTube videos because I like Terraforming Mars. They said check out Forest Shuffle, and I did.
and then one of our regulars at our board game events had a copy as well, and that's how one of your physical first plays were. But anyways, yeah, this is. I kind of looked at it like, I'll play it maybe eventually if there's like a spare spot, but everybody else seems like they're really excited to play this game, so I'll skip it. Somehow I got drug into my first game with it, probably kicking and screaming, and once I figured out how to play this game, I was like, we need to buy it, we need to own it, we need to play. I need to play this game more. I need to shuffle the forest. I need to forest the shuffle. I need to shuffle. I need to build my giant forest tableau with all my cute little critters and figure out every different combination of strategy, whether it's butterflies or deer and foxes and bunny rabbits. I need to figure it all out. And they can just keep printing expansions, and I will keep buying them because Forest Shuffle has now become a new love of mine.
Yeah, well, and you know what's great, even better about Forest Shuffle is that almost every time I've taught it to someone or played with someone for the first time, they're like, oh my gosh, this is great. I love this game. And even online, I have some online friends that I game with, and I introduced one of them. They're like, oh, what do we want to play next? I'm like, how about Forest Shuffle? And they played Forest Shuffle, and then they went out and bought it. And then they bought the expansion, and then they bought Dartmoor. And I believe they said that it's very addicting online
like
and in person.
Dealer. I'm fairly certain that's how it hit my house. And it's a fun game. It is a really fun game.
But should I get that buzzer out, or should we keep rolling on to the next game?
So my biggest surprise of 2025 is how much I enjoyed a game from Thunderworks Games that is different than their World of Ulos games that I love, but it's called Fliptoons. So this is a cartoony game, and it's quick, and you are flipping cards, and every round you're making a 3x2 tableau, and from that then you're collecting how much fame you have, and you're using this fame that your company has, and you are either dismissing people from your company or you are hiring new cartoon talent, and you're gathering all your cards and shuffling them again. So it's a deck builder and deck shredder, and you're not really sure what's going to come up, and I think it's great. The only issue is that for some reason in the Big Button expansion, which we have, Conesy's Big Button card makes this really annoying noise every time he uses it. Everyone else's card is quiet except for his.
Oh, I love
but you jump out of your seat every time.
I can stare at him, and it's
not just Suzanne though. I've gotten other people to jump out of their seats when I do that. It's hilarious. It's
the best part. Absolutely amazing.
And it feels like you're playing it's like you're in a cartoon when you do that.
It is.
Yeah,
it's like,
it does.
All the other cartoon animals jump out of their seats.
Yeah,
when the
and I
buzzer
think,
goes off.
Justin, you haven't had an opportunity to play this yet, have you?
We played.
No, I would really like to. It looks neat.
I thought we played that with
No.
Justin.
No, so yeah, what's great is that it is quick, it's easy to learn, easy to teach, and it's very family friendly, and it's like less than $20.
I heard there's
too.
some expansion content that is in the works coming for it as well. So
we it's definitely one that I would say, hey, you need a stocking stuffer or a small gift to give someone, or a big gift too, depending on what your budget is. It's worth it.
For a game that sold over 1,000 copies at Gen Con, it is quite good.
Yeah.
So speaking of Gen Con,
for myself, my wife and I made the decision we were going to attend Gen Con this year. And from a WiscoDice perspective, I don't ever work Gen Con. I figure if I'm going to go all the way to Indianapolis, I'm just going to spend my time and enjoy it. But Suzanne and Ben both worked very hard while they were at Gen Con. I will say the last time I went, I felt like I don't know if I overloaded my schedule or what, but I felt a little bit stressed, a little bit trying to find my way around. And this time I just really, with the vibe, and I kind of organized my time. I felt like with the vendor hall a little better. I think it was just more of a surprise. I just had a really good time with Gen Con. I picked some good games. I took some great advice from Suzanne. I spent probably a day, spread out over a couple days, just doing the play test hall, and just had a lot of time there. So they have this playtest area where
first exposure
where the board game groups are just trying to get good feedback on games, and you get to try some you like, some you don't. But it was just a different vibe this year. I was a little bit more chill and just really enjoyed my time at Gen Con. So
I think that is something that I've heard a lot of people with the way Gen Con Indy is, even if they've had experience with Gen Con previously when it was in Milwaukee, say is that the second year they go back is the year they have far more fun than the first year. First year it feels stressed. They didn't schedule it right. Maybe they scheduled themselves like they would any other con, and it is a different beast.
Yeah.
Speaking of cons, board games, and things like that, we didn't forget about you, Justin. What's up? What was surprising for you?
One surprise, I spent a lot less money on board games this year. I think I'm entering a more mature phase in my board game collecting
Or you're
days,
more broke?
and just no, couldn't be. But I bought less than I have in previous years. Couldn't possibly be related to the fact that I've almost filled up all the shelves I have in my gaming room.
that just means you need more shelves.
Yeah, just need to buy more shelves. So it was just a different kind of a slower year for me for getting new stuff. But one other neat surprise was that they came out with a campaign for a new special edition of Agricola, which is one of my favorite games of all time. That really got me into board gaming, and a new version that new art, and it basically has every expansion ever released for Agricola in it. So that was a cool surprise. Just it's kind of getting the special edition treatment like they gave for Castles of Burgundy special edition that came out a couple of years ago. So that was just a cool kind of surprise for me to see that new edition come out as well.
Yeah, I saw that. I almost got it myself. And then speaking of games that got a retooling this year that are kind of considered classics, and one of my favorite games of all time, and that is Terra Mystica, and I skipped on actually getting it.
I wondered if you would. I was wondering, just because I feel you're true to the classic.
It's budgetary more than anything. I just can't.
It was
buy
expensive,
them all. Yeah. Anyways, I think we've gotten to the point that most of our listeners probably have been excited and been tuning in for, because everybody's year-end episodes always have what is the best game that was released in 2025. Now, this is a little different as a category than what we started with the best new to us game. Mm-hmm. These are games that had to have been released in 2025. And I'm going to say last year, for me, picking a best of 2025 was really hard, because I didn't feel like, or a best of 2024 anyways, was really hard because I just struggled to find a game that really wowed me. Mm-hmm. But this year I had a handful of games that I really struggled to pick from. And I think many of the rest of us also felt this way. But Matt, what did you end up landing on?
So I landed on a game that I've played here that you guys introduced me to, which is Luthier by Paverson Games. And one thing that you probably may not be aware of, I was a band geek back in the day. I always enjoyed playing music, classical music, all sorts of stuff. So there's something about Luthier with the musicians and the mechanics and the instruments just really struck a chord with me. But I just really enjoyed the game. I enjoyed the mechanics. There's a lot going on in that game, but it flows really well, and it feels like really rewarding to play the game. So I will say I was a struggle with this one and another game, but I settled on Luthier for this year, like you said, as one that was released in 2025. So
and our copy got even cooler because of two things. One, we got the organ dice tower, which we didn't have. Yes, this game, you can buy an upgraded component that is a dice tower that makes music when you roll the dice down them.
It plays a C chord for you.
And then the other thing is the official soundtrack to Luthier just got released.
Oh yeah, that finally came out. Nice.
Just finally I got the notification because I was a Kickstarter backer, so I got the notification just this week, I think. Maybe it was late last week. I can't remember, but yeah, it is out. So now I need to get it back to the table here at the house so I can listen to the soundtrack and actually play it at the same time.
Yeah.
Nice.
What about you, Suzanne?
So, well, I really enjoyed Luthier, but there's one game that if you've never listened to the show, this will be a surprise for you. If you've listened to the show once in the last probably year and a half, you probably know what it's going to be.
Or
longer.
On the review for this game.
Yeah. So, well, I have been waiting for this game to come out, and I was not disappointed. And this is the first game by Kinson Key Games. It's called Galactic Cruise, and there's something about this game that I just get so excited about. I love talking about it. The players are vying to become the next CEO of this Galactic Cruise company, and you have to build ships and sell cruises and make sure that things are balanced and get developments around your company's campus and get your reputation up there. There's resource management, there's worker placement, there's upgrading things, it's a lot of fun. A lot of thought went into this game, from just the packet, the employee handbook for the player aid, just how things were written with telling you this story as you're learning it and just opening the box and everything, and the different segments for the cruises. There's a board game cruise you can go on. And there's cards where you can, because it's a, board game convention, you can shove more people in a room than you normally should, type of thing.
This one almost edged out my Luthier. It's a great game. I've really enjoyed it too. So
yeah, I can't stop playing it. I may have 2 or 3 games going on BGA right now too. So if you're looking for someone to play on BGA, message me and we can. I'm happy to play it with you.
Yeah, I'm going to say the fact that this game is on BGA has slowed down how many times you get it to the table now.
What? I can't get it to the table when I'm in the middle of the night. There's no one here to play with me that's awake.
Well, yeah, but it doesn't seem to come with us to any of our board game days that we run.
I will say the thing that impresses me most about Galactic Cruise is this is the first product from Kinson Key game. I mean that for having it be a first release for a company and it be this polished, this well done, top notch. I mean, just
it kind of is like how Paverson had Distilled as their first release, and it was really good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, Quincy. Do you have a favorite new best game release?
We could keep talking about Galactic Cruise.
All right, let's keep talking about Galactic Cruise.
That is my pick for Game of the Year, and this one did come down. Luthier was right there. There were a couple other games that I thought were really, really well produced and well done. I think it came down to the fact that I think in Luthier we had a couple of plays at 2 players that I found kind of unsatisfying. But I've never had an unsatisfying play of Galactic Cruise, regardless of the player count, which was really nice. So, yeah, as far as this game is I don't think there's anything that's overly revolutionary mechanically in this game. It is a worker placement game that, while it's not round-based, you're going around the table. You just keep going and going and going. Either you're placing workers, you're going to pull your workers back off the board. You've got ships that go on cruises, which is an action. That's a worker action. Place your ship on a cruise. There are all these things that you're doing that really just thematically are put together really, really tight, really well. The gameplay is really good. It's exactly what I would expect for a good worker placement game, but the theming is on point. The branding on this game is on point. It knows exactly how to get you into it. I really feel like I am running my little space cruise business, trying to build it up. while I'm playing this game, and everything about this game makes me feel that way. And that feeling, that look, yeah, it's excellent.
It's a lot of fun to run at conventions. Since I'm not playing in it, I get to be the current CEO and looking down at everyone and evaluating them.
And you're running this and Luthier at Midwinter, right?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
I will say there's one mechanic, Ben, that I specifically liked in Collector Cruise, that they made pulling the players' meeples back off, your workers
when you're
back
calling
off
meeting?
the board means something.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel like a dead turn. Like so frequently in worker placement games, you hit I have to pull all my workers back, and it feels like you've done nothing that round while everybody else is still doing stuff. And this one, you can watch our show where we talk about this in depth. That mechanic is cool. It makes the game more fun.
Yeah. It never feels like you're, oh, hey, crap, I just fell behind a turn when you have to pull your workers back.
Yeah, Justin, you've played Galactic Cruise, right?
Yeah, I did get to play it once. Yeah.
Okay, so I would say if not, I'm coming over and we're playing it tonight.
Yeah. No, that's a great game.
What about you, Justin? What was your favorite 2025 release?
So I was also a backer of Luthier, and I would love to say that Luthier was my top game for 2025, but I only got to play it. I've only played it once, and I've only played it with 2 players, and I feel like it's probably better with more players. And so it just kind of got edged out by, just to repeat myself, Lord of the Rings: Fate of the Fellowship. That is my top game for this year. I already talked about it a bunch. I definitely recommend it. One cool thing that I will also mention about it that I didn't mention before is that I mentioned that there was objectives and goals that you have to complete to progress to win the game. There's like 30 different objectives. The game can be vastly different every time you play it. It's not going to be sort of the same thing every time. And there's also a huge amount of characters. You can play as the typical Fellowship characters you would expect, but you can also end up playing as like Gollum as one of the playable characters. So there's a lot of variability in setup and the characters that you pick and the objectives that you have. And the game is just going to flow differently every time you play it. So that's one other really cool thing about that game. But yeah, Lord of the Rings: Fate of the Fellowship is what I'm kind of currently hyped about. So that's my game for
I think all the playable characters at least helped the Fellowship or helped the Ring Bearer at some point during the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Like, that's why Gollum's a playable character, because he does help.
Yeah.
He does join Frodo and Sam and help them for part of the journey in the books.
Yep.
That's true.
So I don't think there's anybody that's like, oh, hey, that person didn't show up in the books. Everybody that's a playable character showed up in the books and somehow helped the Fellowship.
Yeah.
Although I think there's a couple of characters, I think they're in there a little bit. It's maybe a little bit more of a stretch for them, but they're there. All right. So we're kind of getting to the point where we should wrap up our 2025 before we start talking about 2026. So let's go ahead and sum up our 2025. How would you sum it up, Matt?
I feel like, when I thought long and hard about this one before I wrote anything down, and I actually would say for 2025, I feel like the thing I landed on was lacking. I felt like there could have been more. And that's just, I had a lot of home things, and I made the silly, decision to change jobs and other things. And that just kind of threw a wrench in a whole bunch of things. We used to, very similar to Ben and Suzanne, though not as often, we would host game nights at our house, and just due to a whole bunch of home and family stuff, that just never got off the ground this year. And, those are things we enjoy doing, just like Ben and Suzanne. And, and I feel like there's just a bunch of times I wanted to get out there and I just didn't make it this year. There's always 2026 and, getting a heck of a lot more gaming going. So
how about you, Suzanne?
Well, so I had a good 2025, but my way to sum it up is that I'm dissatisfied with myself and how my gaming went this year. Mainly because I had gaming resolutions in 2024, which I felt I more or less met. And this year, I thought I had really obtainable resolutions and goals, and I didn't come close to meeting them.
Well,
so I got a little frustrated with that. Like, our looking for players table did not go down in size by much. I really was ambitious saying I'm going to get through all that. I mean, I do need
to the list, right?
Well,
Yeah,
we
you
haven't
keep-
added that many. I part of it is we've had things going on. I had a 10 by 10 with game themes that I really was excited about. And if I had gotten through that looking for players table, I would have gotten through this mostly too. I did kind of figure out small game storage. Our brown paint ran away, so I'm keep convincing myself I'm gonna eventually find it so I can finish that. And I have started on my inserts now. I have a 3D printer working, so I could still make that goal.
I mean, we'll catch up on our gaming goals that we set last year in January on our YouTube channel.
I'm just saying, but according to right now, that's why I'm a little dissatisfied with how my gaming went this year.
You find out where she's got actually on her gaming goals in about a month over on YouTube.
Yeah, not much further than I am now. But Justin, do you have anything more positive than what
a little bit.
2025 so far sounds terrible, so please brighten it up.
Well, it was a calmer year for me. I feel like I had a lot of stuff that got in the way of like getting to more games that I wanted to get to. There were plenty of invites to gaming days and stuff that I kind of had to miss just because of other stuff I had going on. It's tricky with kids. You got to make sure they get to do their activities. And so there's just some opportunities I missed on to get more gaming in and see friends and things like that. But I wouldn't say that as a big negative. It was just a calmer year. I got fewer board games, but I did get to play some really, really cool games. Luthier being a highlight, Galactic Cruise being a highlight for sure. So there's definitely some good gaming in there. It was just a little bit less hectic for me this year. So.
All right.
How about you, Ben?
I got a solution for you. Just got to get those kids an Uber account and
oh my god,
get yourself to your events, kids. Daddy's got to play games.
Well, my daughter is gonna be getting her temp driver license pretty soon, so that's a whole other thing to do.
You're on the west side, right? I don't know if we're worried.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
We're mostly safe. Yeah, my 2025 was busy. I mean, every year is really ridiculously busy, but I've logged well over 300 in-person plays so far with a month to go. I'm hoping it's going to be close to that 400 game in-person goal that I set myself for this year. I don't think I'm going to make it, but it's going to be close. It's going to be surprisingly close. And that means I've been having a lot of fun, whether it's been at a lot of conventions, whether it's been at all these board game events that we run, whether it's at our board game nights or just Suzanne and I trying to chill out for a night when she can finally get me motivated enough to actually play a board game at home. So, yeah, it's been busy adding on to the 200 plus painted miniatures for the year. Like it's been a crazy year with a lot of stuff going on, and I've been really happy and really excited to be able to touch on all those. And all those 300 games, there's 117 unique games in that list that I've played. So there's a lot of repeat plays of different games. Nice. More than previous years that I've done. So going forward, though, 2026, we're always excited for the new year. We're excited to see new things, new hobby projects, new conventions or events we might attend. But Matt, what are you excited about for 2026? What's got you excited?
There's a couple of things that I'm looking forward to getting a little bit organized in my hobbying. I have kind of I'm going to call it a secret project on my own that I want to do that's sort of hobby adjacent, that I finally think I have all the right tools set up in my workshop So you guys might get to see a preview of that in Q1. So I just want to get a little more organized on my hobbying and actually get something to contribute in that.
Starting a new Warhammer: The Old World army would definitely help.
That
you
would
get your
definitely
hobbying.
help, but I have no patience for that. Apparently, I have 2 other things that will come up later to cover in front of that. So,
Well, anyways, I am looking forward to playing more of Class of '89 from Paverson Games that we got to check out at Gen Con this year.
Yep, that was
And
fun.
I wanted, like, when I saw him announce Class of '89, I'm like, just like when I saw him announce Luthier, I was like, what are you thinking, Dave? Like, this theme or this game? No. Like, I'm not interested at all. And then I got a chance to play. Well, Luthier, I just backed because it was Paverson and I was going to back it. And if it was terrible, and I was going to let Dave know. And it turned out to be really, really, really good.
Mhm.
Class of '89, I told Dave after I got a chance to play it, Dave Beck, the owner of Paverson Games, I told him, I was like, what are you thinking with this theme? And then I got to play it, and I got to see some of the art that they have kind of done for some of the cards in the game, some of the prototype art, and it is definitely the gameplay is fun. It's really good. The callback art to all of these like pop culture '80s. Because the '80s were so many movies and TV shows where there were characters that were in like high school in the in '80s high schools that are going to have like tribute art in like the game, and it's I think it's going to be like this game of like really good gameplay that's a little lighter, but also nostalgia all at once. It's going to be a ton of fun getting to the table.
Yeah, it should be good.
And they're self-funding this one rather than crowdfunding it, so it should, in theory, going direct to retail. And I think his plan was sometime right around Gen Con-ish next year to have it being able to be released. So there is, I believe, another crowdfunding game he's doing next year, but
yeah, and that one will be very different. Well, I'm really looking forward to that. Actually, both of those games coming out from Paverson. I am actually really looking forward to doing more YouTube videos for the channel. I don't know what, like, I need Cohen's
more than
do
what we've
too.
been doing lately.
I know, and it's something that I miss. I enjoy it. I enjoy talking about games. If you guys don't realize, I enjoy talking about games with my husband, which is really weird. And may as well record it so everyone can hear my crazy conversations and thoughts, and not just the people in the cars next to us that see me waving my hands around and gesturing crazily, and they probably think I'm yelling at my husband when I'm just trying to explain a game to him.
Yeah, we probably still will have those conversations. But the plus side is by the time this podcast released, there should be 2 or 3 new videos up on the YouTube channel. So if you haven't, if you haven't checked it out any of our videos, go check them out. Yeah, we will be back and moving.
I'd like to get some more. So hopefully you guys want to watch some videos.
I've been preliminarily approved for a new camera, so we'll see if some extra gear happens too for the YouTube channel.
Okay, Justin, save me. Get me out of this hole now that
what are these things? I don't know what these things are. I haven't heard of them.
What things?
My next 2 games here?
Yeah.
One of the things
start Monday?
Yeah, you should read
Oh
my gosh! Everyone else knows what these games are.
I missed which one this one came out on.
Justin, why don't you actually tell the audience who can't see our notes?
Yes.
What are these games, and what are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to Escape the Dark Castle and Escape the Dark Forest. These were recently on a GameFound campaign, which I believe is closed. Yeah, I think you could probably late back for them. Probably. These are simple, cooperative, dark, grim, atmospheric kind of adventure storytelling dungeon crawl games. Escape the Dark Castle originally came out in like 2017, but this is a new upgraded sort of version. They say their kind of engine for the game has been updated to be a little more balanced and work a little more smoothly. And it's always something that's really appealed to me, partly because the artwork is this grim fantasy, black and white art style. That's sort of this retro look to it, this old sort of hand-drawn black and white line art, which really appeals to me and just has a cool vibe. Well, you can go and find a copy of Escape the Dark Castle now, I'm sure, on any retail like gaming store. They also have a sequel to it called Escape the Dark Sector, which is a sci-fi version. And so that's also available. Again, I haven't played these games. It's just something I'm looking forward to that looks really cool, has a cool art style. I like the idea of sort of this dark, dangerous fantasy kind of dungeon crawl that's cooperative, but with simple rules and streamlined mechanics. So yeah, it's just a cool looking game. I hope to have you guys play it with me sometime this next year.
Absolutely.
Yes.
I've at least heard of the sci-fi one, and when you were talking about them, that makes like, okay, I think maybe I've heard of these games now, but
You probably saw them on Kickstart Monday, but it just didn't click.
yeah, I just didn't capture my attention quite as much as it caught Justin's. That's all right. That's why we pick these things out. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to trying some of those too, Justin. Now that you got me all excited for them.
And I should say, real quick, for those of you who like the games that Justin recommends and talks about, you should really check out his weekly blog article on crowdfunding campaigns coming out.
You want to find out how to spend your crowdfunding dollars. Don't be scared of Kickstarter. Don't be scared of GameFound. Just go to Kickstart Monday, every Monday, where Justin recommends 2 or more amazing games or other gaming-related products that are on crowdfunding that most likely not only are going to fund, but are also quite often going to deliver. I don't think we have a game. I think there's one game in the history of Kickstart Monday that we've recommended that still hasn't delivered, but maybe in another year or so. So I think it's actually kind of at production right now. So maybe we'll see it sometime in 26 or 27. I don't know. It's been forever.
Anyway.
But anyways, we have a really good track record of recommending games that you're actually going to receive, which is, I think, a very important thing when people talk about crowdfunding these days.
Yep. All right. What
are our gaming goals for 2026? Now, Suzanne and I are going to do a YouTube video sometime probably in early January going over all of our gaming goals and other related like hobby-ish kind of goals.
You just get a preview of it.
But so this is just kind of a preview, but for me, I want to get a lot more painting done. I would like to get, not just figures. This year, like I think I mentioned already, I've painted almost 200 figures. I'll have painted at least 200 figures by the end of the year. But this year I want to also do, or in 26, I want to do a lot more terrain, which I feel like I took a little bit of a back seat. And that terrain in particular is going to be a lot of it's going to be for D&D gaming.
What about for other board games?
I don't necessarily need terrain in board games.
The Return to Dark Tower, the flames.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got those.
Flames, cool things like that.
But yeah, like that kind of stuff. Those will probably be done
print.
Soon. Yeah. It's the backlog. Now that she's got a working printer, I'll have a backlog of board game accessories she's going to want me to paint. I've been rehashing a lot of the same D&D terrain for a little bit. I think for like the last 6 months to a year. I really haven't added a whole lot of new stuff to it. And while I think, like role-playing games, it isn't necessarily about terrain or visual stuff, I do really like having that kind of stuff at the table. And I think having new visual interest, new things to look at gives players a chance to interact with things a little different or be excited about things a little different. And I'm hoping to add components of terrain, particularly for my D&D games, that are going to allow the players to hopefully come up with new creative ways to move around the map or interact with the map that will be fun and interesting and exciting. That's kind of where I want to be, my goals wise. My biggest goal, I think, going into 26. Matt, what do you got for a goal?
I actually want to get off my butt and do some painting for once. I kind of had a goal of trying to do this last year and didn't really make it, but I want to try to get some paint, and I'd love to fully paint all the figures in Frosthaven and another game that I just received last year called The Dark Quarter. So I'd like to try to get both those games completely painted as a goal for next year, so that when they hit the table, there's paint on minis and fun things that you can do with that. So
there we go. We'd love to see those painted figures. That's for sure.
yeah, Suzanne.
Yep.
So, okay, you guys, I do like playing D&D. Most of my year-end stuff does not focus on D&D for the listeners. Just know that I do enjoy it. But what I would really like to do is I gave myself a goal of 12 games, of 12 titles that we own, but did not get played in 2025 or in 2024. So have not been played for 2 years that are staying on our shelves. I'd like to make sure I get those played, and they could be brand new games that are sitting there, or it could be a game that we've had for a while that just hasn't gotten played, and I want to play it to make sure I understand why we are keeping it on the shelf. So it's kind of my goal. Justin, do you want to do anything special in 2026 related to gaming?
I got two little goals. First one, I want to focus on playing games more than once. I have a bad habit of getting sucked in by a new game and playing it once, and then getting sucked in by another new game, playing it once and not repeating, not playing a game again after I played it kind of for the first time. Partly that's just due to I haven't been playing as many board games as I would like to, but it's still sort of a habit I've gotten in of like Luthier. I only played it once. I would really like to have played it again this year, but then something else new and shiny popped up and I played something else, got some new Kickstarter in and played that instead. So that's one thing I do want to kind of get back to games and play them more than once and give them their due, And then the other thing that I want to do is track the games I played a little bit better. I think when we do some of these year-end wrap-ups, I sometimes have trouble remembering all the stuff that I've played during the year and highlights and stuff. I'm going to make a little bit of an effort to keep track of what I've been playing and kind of figure out my stats. Got to figure out, get my stats down for the year next year.
So that sounds good. I am bad about tracking games. I had an app I liked and it's gone.
Yeah, there was a free app that we liked, and now it's you got to pay. You got to use the paid app that interacts with Board Game Geek. That's not the Board Game Geek app, because Board Game Geek app the Board Game Geek app for tracking your plays kind of sucks. Unfortunately, I love Board Game Geek. I just their app themselves that they developed does not have the functionality for tracking games. So BG Stats is, I think, the app. It's not that much money really. It's just that you have to pay for something. I don't
pay for it.
BG Stats, you had to buy this app.
Nope.
It's paid for in the App Store.
Oops.
So yes,
I'm just gonna say it's not as intuitive. It does not process like my brain processes, but okay.
Yeah, let's see here.
Well,
in the Android world, it's like $3 or $4 or something like that, I think.
Is it?
Yeah,
it was not free.
All right, I guess I paid money for an app.
You gotta support those developers. You gotta support the devs.
Yeah.
No, which is totally fine. I just, Anyway, move on to other things besides my lack of financial awareness of what I'm
got to get somebody to
spend my money on.
Somebody else with BG Stats to log the game, and then you can just get them to scan to provide a QR code for you. And if that somebody doesn't provide that QR code for you, you just got to remember to remind them gently. Anyways, I think that gets us through all of our recap for the year. It's all of our gaming goals, things we're looking forward to in 2022, our new to us game of the year, as well as our actual game of the year that was printed this year. We've had an exciting dog keep us company the whole time. We've talked about our amazing hobby projects that we've been working on. I mean, there's been just a lot of just wonderful memories and things that we've talked about in this episode, things we're excited about, both from this past year and what's looking forward to the new year. Let us know your favorite things you encountered, whether you want to do that, hop over and just let us know on one of these posts on social media. or if you want to let us know in the comments, if you're listening to this on YouTube, we'd love to find out what you're really into or what you really thought of for your 2025.
Thank you so much for listening. Make sure you leave a review of this show wherever your favorite place is to find podcasts. Oh, and by the way, give us a like on our Facebook page. And don't forget to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, or Pinterest while you're at it. If you haven't looked recently, make sure you catch up on the blog at WiscoDice.com. Hey, Brian, what's that site?
Ah, darn, I forget. Justin, what's our website again?
WiscoDice.com.
That's right, it's WiscoDice.com. And until next time, everyone, peace out.